Good evening. This is the Ogden City Redevelopment Agency special meeting for Tuesday, June 25th, 2013. Let the roll call reflect that all board members are present. First on the agenda is approval of minutes. Minutes of the special meeting of January 15th, 2013. Board Member Gochner.
Thank you. I've reviewed those and found them to be accurate and would make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the minutes from Board Member Gochner and a second from Vice Chair Garner. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Next is a public hearing for the budget amendment of proposed resolution 2013-13. Ms. Johnson.
Again, this is year-end cleanup for the RDA budget, and the purpose of this action is to recognize the first two payments for the sale of land located within the RDA in the amount of $222,752. Any questions? It's just the one item. Okay.
This is a public hearing, so we will now accept public input on the proposed resolution 2013-13.
Seeing no movement, I move that we close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
We have a motion to close the public hearing from Board Member Heyer and a second from Board Member Wicks. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any further discussion or motion?
And with no other further discussion, I'll make a motion that we adopt the proposed resolution 2013-13.
I'll second.
We have a motion to adopt proposed resolution 2013-13 from Vice Chair Garner and a second from Board Member Heyer. This is a roll call vote.
Board Member Gochner?
Aye.
Board Member Heyer?
Aye.
Board Member Stevens?
Aye.
Board Member Van Hoosier?
Aye.
Board Member Wicks?
Aye.
Vice Chair Garner?
Aye.
Chair Blair?
Aye, that passes. Next is reports from administration. First are the townhomes at South River Development Agreement.
Board members, this item is possible because of an action you took, the City Council took just a while ago regarding an ordinance amendment. The development agreement that was entered in with South River had several exhibits with it of how development would take place. And because of the action taken in the City Council meeting, the different exhibits are proposed to be amended. The first would be in Exhibit A, which would amend the site plan to use this now as the revised site plan, showing the change on 20th Street with the buildings oriented towards the inner part in that middle section of the development. In addition to that, one of the stipulations was then in Exhibit B to show what would take place, and this would be then that we'd install the 2-inch caliper trees along the frontage and then also have a 4 to 5 foot hedge that also go along this area, then a taper down to here, because this is then the pedestrian access would lead all the way to the river, just to help identify that entryway into that walkway. So Exhibit B would say this is the expectation of what take place along the 20th Street frontage. Exhibit C is being amended to include 2 new types of units that are being proposed in this second phase. And you heard Mr. Walker talk about the 2-story units that have complete living on the first level and not as many stairs. So in Exhibit C, we have then the typical floor plan that shows how that would be. Then building elevations of 2 different styles, one an arts and crafts style and one a Victorian style of how those 2-level units would look. And these would also then be added to the existing development agreement to add these options in, since that had not been considered before. Now, with these 2-level units, one of the things that takes place is another amendment in the text of the development agreement, and that is the number of units per phase. These units are a little bit wider, and so in this second phase of the development, it actually removes a unit. The way the development agreement had been worded earlier was there would be so many units per phase, and that would be what's required. Now, because of this new floor plan and the possible options it creates, we're amending or suggesting the agreement be amended to allow a 10% flexibility with each phase, so that if these units prove to be successful, that they can also be placed in the third and fourth phase and allow that flexibility to occur, so that you'd have a variety of floor plans available, and these would be those styles of units that would be proposed in those areas. And so that is what the amendments are being proposed for the development agreement. Any questions you might have on that?
Thank you.
Okay.
There's no further discussion. I will make a motion to adopt proposed resolution 2013-14.
Second it.
We have a motion to adopt proposed resolution 2013-14 from Board Member Gochner and a second from Board Member Stevens. This is a roll call vote.
Board Member Heyer,
Aye.
Board Member Stevens,
Aye.
Board Member Van Hoosier,
Aye.
Board Member Wicks,
Aye.
Board Member Gochner,
Aye.
Vice Chair Garner,
Aye.
Chair Blair.
Aye, that passes. Next is Tokyo Station Real Estate Purchase Contract Amendment. Mr. Bryan.
Members of the board, our proposition this evening is the increase in an allotment that would be given to the purchaser, the purchaser of property out of Lot B in the Junction subdivision. We had initially proposed not to exceed $50,000 contribution to their mitigation of debris that we knew would likely be found underneath the site that might cause them some problems with foundation work. After closer investigation, we found out that the problem was actually much worse than we had thought. And with that, we have talked with and negotiated with the buyer, Tokyo Station, Mr. King, and we have determined that a fair share would be more in line with about $125,000. So we're coming before you this evening to request an increase of from $50,000 to $125,000 for the contribution. That contribution would come out of proceeds of sale for that lot, which is on the east side of the parking structure at the Junction subdivision facing Washington Boulevard. It does make sense to go ahead and move forward with this. We do have a good quality prospect that would build a business that would be paying substantial property tax and new sales tax revenue that would be a great benefit to the city. And if we don't move forward with the mitigation of the debris and dealing with the soil issues there, we will at some point have to address that with another prospect. So that is our proposition. Do you have any questions?
Mr. Bride, could you also address that we're extending the term?
Yes, thank you. We are extending the term another 2 months due to the loss of time that's been involved with design work that needed to be done. In fact, very creative design work in order to get the cost of mitigation down. So that would extend their permit period an additional 2 months, and then also their requirement to have an occupancy permit another 2 months out from the period that was first outlined in the initial real estate purchase contract. So that amendment would take care of those two issues: the increase in contribution to mitigation, and then the extension.
So if they get into this and it's even worse than it looks right now, is our portion capped, or are we
We are
open
capped.
to?
That is our limit. And we are requiring that they show us receipts for costs. We have estimates, but we're asking that they show those receipts so that there is proof of the investment that they're putting into mitigating the soil and debris issues.
So it's their responsibility to pick up any additional costs then?
Yes. Yes.
How did we discover this, and why didn't we know before?
We did know that there was an issue with soils and with debris. We didn't know that it would be as involved in dealing with, and that the mitigation would be as expensive as it was. Our initial estimate was $50,000. Well, our contribution would be $50,000. Their contribution would be $50,000. We thought that would be more than
How do we know
adequate.
it was worse? How do we know that it's worse now?
Was it core drilling or?
They've actually gone in and trenched.
Oh, they've trenched. Okay.
Yes.
We didn't find that out when that parking structure was being built and those kind of things. I just kind of wondered, I mean, that's pretty close. I just kind of wondered how come we didn't find out
Yeah,
then?
we knew that, again, we knew that it was there. We just didn't know that the cost of mitigation would be as expensive as it has turned out to be.
Okay.
We can get you a souvenir piece of the Bon Marché if you're interested in having it.
I really want the dress.
We'll look for the blue dress. Purple, just in case.
What's the time element by which he will begin to start the construction and finish?
The limit that we have is,
September now, isn't it?
that they will be under construction, I believe it's by September 31st. So that means that they have to have their building permit pulled by that point in time. So that would, of course, require that they have a contractor signed up.
September
Because
30th.
that's who would pull the building permit, September 31st, 2 months beyond that date. So, it shall be extended 2 months respectively to September 31st. And then July 31st of 2014, he would have to have his occupancy permit in place at that point in time.
We've had other things buried.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We own a cemetery.
And we've done what we can with the contractor that was responsible
Yes.
for that, so.
That's long since been, yes.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion or motion?
Move that we adopt proposed resolution 2013-15. I'll second it.
We have a motion from Board Member Van Hoosier to adopt proposed resolution 2013-15 and a second from Board Member Wicks. This is a roll call vote.
Board Member Stevens,
Aye.
Board Member Van Hoosier, Board Member Wicks,
Aye.
Board Member Gochner,
Aye.
Board Member Heyer,
Aye.
Vice Chair Garner,
Aye.
Chair Blair.
Aye, that passes. Next is public comments. This is an opportunity to address the board regarding your concerns or ideas for the Ogden Redevelopment Agency. City council concerns should be expressed during a city council meeting. Please state your name and address clearly for the record and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Seeing none. Comments from the RDA Executive Director.
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Are other RDA staff?
Nothing.
And comments from board members?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion to adjourn from Board Member Wicks and a second from Vice Chair Garner. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Just as a reminder, a city council work session will be held in the council workroom immediately following this meeting. The purpose of the work session is to discuss a zone text amendment regarding contractor storage in the M1 and M2 zones.